Hi everybody, I'm Dawn from the North Andover Merchants Association, and today we're over at 113 Andover Street, the Stevens Coolidge Estate, and we're here with Kate Bebo and Kevin Block. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks, Dawn.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's great.
So I have some questions for you. What is the Stevens Coolidge Place and how does it relate to the trustees?
So the trustees, we are a nonprofit land conservation organization just based in Massachusetts. We are actually the oldest in the entire world. Started in 1891 by a man named Charles Eliot. So since then, we have now 116 different properties across the state of Massachusetts, and we can serve about 26,000 acres. We are very member oriented. Becoming a member is a huge part of how we actually fund a lot of and keep a lot of these properties open to the public. So of those 116 properties, we have a little bit of everything. So we have beach properties like Crane Beach and Castle Hill. We have farm properties like Appleton Farms. And then we have country estates and botanical gardens like here at Stevens Coolidge Place. So Stevens Coolidge Place, it was given to the trustees in 1962 from the Stevens and Coolidge families.
So what happened to ensure the historic conservation of the property?
So as said, John passed away in late 30s, 1936 I think to be exact, and Helen lived here till 1962 by herself. In 1962, she bequeathed it to the trustees in her will. And she wanted to make sure that we kind of kept the character of what it was and allowed public to come enjoy it. So it's literally what we have been doing since 1962. As the four gardens I mentioned are all still maintained in the same way. We've done a lot of renovations over the many years we've been managing this property to keep almost some of the same plantings that she had and also the same landscape design in each garden as well. And so now we manage it to maintain that character, maintain the history of this, and to allow for just a wonderful place for the public to come enjoy.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us what some of the events are that go on here? How do people use this estate?
We do have a host of programs, all year long, even through the winter we started, and things from nature play group for under 5-year-olds and families to kind of just be introduced to nature, stomp in puddles, find bugs, climb trees, all the way to Mother's and Father's Day events, picnic concerts, working with local garden clubs and artists to run painting or photography workshops. We try to do some educational workshops, so whether it's garden pests or pruning, and then just some fun workshops, both in the winter. Maybe we'll make fairy gardens or herb gardens to kind of give you a little glimpse of green while everything's covered in snow. And recently we've been getting into some nighttime events, so maybe adults only cocktail music type things or owl prowls at night, night hikes, just trying to explore the gardens and the property because it is 91 acres at different seasons, at different times of day, and whenever you come here it's always something different. So just encouraging people, when you're not feeling like maybe it's time to go outside because it's winter and nighttime, that's when some of the coolest things are outside.
So how can the public get more involved with this property?
There's a couple ways. So the programs you mentioned, come introduce yourself at a program, check us out, on your own, just walking the gardens. But we also encourage, this property really survives on volunteers. And so if you're interested in this place, if you like to be here as much as we do, every Wednesday 9 to 12, the volunteers and us are out here working in the gardens. They're helping me at events, running craft tables or checking in people. And then also, like Kevin mentioned earlier, membership is a huge part of the trustees and its sustainability. So becoming a member is huge. Perks with that are free or reduced admission to properties. The Stevens Coolidge Place is free admission, but some of the others aren't. Free or reduced admission to programming, and there are thousands across the state over the course of the year. One that everybody likes is the Crane Estates Gadsby party in August. And you also get this lovely quarterly magazine, which Stevens Coolidge Place was on the cover of this spring, so we felt really great about that. So it keeps you up to date on what's going across the state, what's going on with environmentalism, great programs, nature, all that good stuff.
Okay. And I understand you have a really big event coming up this spring. Do you want to tell us about it?
We have a big Rose Garden soiree on Saturday, June 9th, from 4 to 7 p.m. And it's more of a fundraiser event, but it's going to be just this fabulous night of hors d'oeuvres and drinks and just a chance to kind of run around Stevens Coolidge Place in a way that you usually can't. And as I said, it's a fundraiser because there's a lot of exciting things coming our way about new renovations and investment in this property for, as I said, keeping that historical significance, and then adding to the gardens, adding to the visitor amenities. And so at this event, it's really going to start away. We are going to kind of it's going to be really the first time we really tell the public about it and kind of let people in on some exciting new things coming our way. So as I said, coming to that just as an individual helps raise funds for further renovation here. But also businesses, being a Merchant of the Month, businesses can also be a sponsor for this. So we are looking for businesses to, there's many different sponsor levels.
So soiree makes it sound very fancy. Is it a full dress or formal dress?
Garden attire. I think people have fun with dressing up. I saw a lot of floral dresses last year. We encourage flat shoes just because we're on the grass and gardens, but it's not like black tie or anything. There will be some unusual entertainment, live music, so it'll be a really fun night.
You can wear a tux, but it's up to you.
You'll stand out.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to tell us all about the Stevens Coolidge Estate. And if you haven't been here yet, it certainly is a hidden gem. We drive by the walls all the time, but if you haven't gone behind those walls, you're missing a lot. So thanks everybody for joining in with us again. I'm Dawn Pease with the North Andover Merchants Association, and this has been the Merchant of the Month.
My name is Todd Wakeman. I'm a Mason at the Chickwick Lodge. We do several things. One of them is what I'm doing today, and that is a blood drive for the American Red Cross. We do it twice a year, usually February and April. Like right now, unfortunately the weather is too warm for us outside, so we're in the North Andover Y, but normally it's at the lodge. We are also very active in community items, such as the Habitat for Humanities, the, Bread and Roses, and during Christmas time, Toys for Tots. Well, for every unit that a person gives of blood, they save 3 lives. So once we gave and saved 90 lives because we donated 30 units. So my favorite saying is every time we have a meeting, I say, we just saved 90 lives in one of our events. So it's a feeling of pride inside. It's like, what did you do? Well, we just saved 90 lives. They're usually posted every year when they're going to be. And let's see, like this year there was in February, mid-February, and then the beginning of April. And usually it's located at the lodge. The Red Cross, you can also get information from them. And I apologize, I don't have their email off the top of my head. So, but you can get information from the Red Cross, and please give blood as much as you can, because like I said, every unit you save 3 lives. And with the disastrous weather we've had, the Red Cross is always in need of some help.
My name is John Gorman from North Andover. I ran the Boston Marathon this year. This was my 30th Boston Marathon, 49th marathon overall. And it was a tough experience. The conditions were horrible. It was, low 40s in temperature-wise. It was a headwind of about 20 to 30 miles an hour heading into Boston, and it was very cold. The hardest part is the training. The marathon itself is hard, but it's all those training miles you got, because you can't just, I'm a runner full-time, like not full-time, but I run year-round. And if it's July, I can't run a marathon because I'm not trained for it. So what you have to do, you have to get out there and between, let's say, the last 8 weeks leading up to the marathon, you need to do a long run on the weekend. You have to do, anywhere from 15 to 20 miles and get your legs conditioned to be out there for however long, 3-4 hours. Because if you don't, good chance you're not going to finish. You're not going to make it, or you're going to end up walking. So the hardest part is getting there injury-free. And as far as the race itself, the hardest part is probably, the last 10 miles. A lot of people, if they hit the wall, they call it the wall at 10 miles. They get, or even at 20 miles, they get there and, their legs are done. And if you you pace yourself right, you can get through that. If you go out too fast, which is some people do, you're gonna cramping and walking and struggling. I've got family that loves to come and see me run. My wife and my kids usually see me at mile 16, which is right over. It's on Route 16 in Wellesley, right over 128, and they've been there for like the last 25 years watching me run. I see a lot of friends that I've known over the years. I see them all along the course, especially on Com Ave. It's really it's a special race to me because the whole town just comes out, and if you want to run other marathons, they're not as many spectators, and it's not. I mean, Boston's it. Boston's the number one. Boston Marathon is number one in the world, and it's a very desirable race to run because of the prestige and the history. So, but the one thing emotionally for me. Everybody says I'm traumatized by it, but I don't know if I am. But I know I won't watch that movie about the Boston Marathon. It's hard to me to watch films and pictures. But the one thing that every year when there's a sign at was about a mile ago that says Boston Strong, and you're almost done. It's like less than a mile to go. And you see that sign, and I get tingles. I get goosebumps. Very emotional there. So so I think about the victims and how Boston came through afterwards. Yeah, I'm planning on running in 2019. I can get a number. It's not going to be any different next year. I'm just going to get out there and train as to get me healthy to the starting line. I say I do it for myself, but I really also, more importantly, do it for my family. I want my family, my sons, my wife, my brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews. I want them to be proud of me, and I think they are. And every day morning when I wake up and it's 4:30 and it's the middle of winter, and I say to myself, this marathon's not going to run itself. You got to get out there and train. So that's my motivation. If you don't have motivation, you're not gonna finish a Boston any marathon. You need a reason, and my reason is my family, me, my family, and a lot of my friends too. So I started the North Andover Middle School cross country program about 5 years ago. So I'm very proud of that, and I love to see young kids start running. I know I was inspired back when I was in grammar school, middle school. I used to sit there at my paper stop and see runners coming from the high school I'm going to running by, and I used to see them and say, that looks like something I could do, because I wasn't a football player, a baseball player, and I would love to see young kids who didn't make the baseball team or couldn't hack it in football, who get out there and find within them a talent that they didn't even know about. You really don't know about it until you get out there and do it. And to see a young kid get out there and harness, mine his talent and become a success, or even if he's not a success, enjoy the sport. I love seeing that. And then, starting the cross country program, I'm very proud of that too.
Hello everybody, this is Andrew Mailer, Town Manager here in North Andover for this month's segment of the Journal. A quick reminder right up front is next week, depending on the timing of this particular episode, is town meeting, May 15th. I encourage everybody to come. We have an open town meeting, and obviously the more people in the room, the better for the entire community. We appreciate, as people who work here, the fact that people take time out of their evenings to come to town meeting. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the community. So I encourage you to come. In addition to that, you should know that the master planning process started more than a year ago to develop a vision, long-term vision for the community is solidly underway. Actually, we're getting close to a sort of a draft form of that master plan. Ultimately, it needs to be adopted by the planning board, but it's been a great opportunity for community members of all ages, of all generations, of all genders and backgrounds to weigh in on what they want the community to look like over time. Our hope after that is that we actually work with the selectmen to have the selectmen and the planning board develop some kind of implementation plan to make sure that the master plan is not just a document that gets placed on the shelf, but something that truly comes to life over the next decade or 2 decades. Really looking forward to that. DPW continues to work aggressively to try to help in terms of the leaf pickup. There's a leaf pickup schedule you can see online, and the small limb pickup as well. I know there are still some of those around, but it was a really difficult winter, and DPW has committed significant resources to try to clean up the town, and I want to give them credit for that. I think they've done a really effective job in trying to get that done. And we're rolling into summer season, so a lot of construction happening around town. We apologize in advance for any of the disruption from those projects, but also realize that that's what improves the community. So Water High and Elm has been an area we've spent a lot of time making some improvements to in sidewalks. Ultimately, the street will be repaved over the summer. The Ann Pratt Street Early Childhood Complex is under construction, will be done in August. Great project. And there are other various roadway projects around town happening. And so again, I know that it creates a level of disruption during the summer, the better weather season, but it's the time we can get on the road and do the kinds of things the community likes. So again, we apologize for our appearance while we're making ourselves look better in the long term. Thank you very much, and hope to see you at town meeting.